Hi, good evening. This is Greg Wheeler, and I'm coming to you from Greg Wheeler Coaching. Today is Sunday, the 2nd of March, and I just wanted to share with you some different and interesting ideas about perspective. How important is perspective in our lives? How does our perspectives and our view affect how we hear things and see things? How we process information? I mean, this could be a really deep topic. We're not going to go that deep. But I just want to share with you a revelation that happened to me many years ago when I first read Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Effective People. And in that book was a picture of an old woman. It's a black and white picture. It's an old woman. And I'm just curious. I want to show you the picture. And maybe you've seen this picture before or you've had this experience already, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity to either experience it again or experiencing for the first time. So I'm going to bring up that picture. And hopefully you can see this black and white picture. And as you can see, there's the big nose of the old lady and her eye and her mouth. And it's just this really incredible picture of an old lady. And probably one of the reasons why you're seeing an old lady is because I told you it's an old lady. Picture came up and you're expecting to see an old lady and you did. Now I'd like you to consider the fact that if I hadn't told you that this was an old lady, you might be able to see that there's a young lady in this picture. A young lady, and this is her nose and an eyelash, and this is her chin, this is her cute little ear. She has a little bonnet on her hair, and this is her necklace. This is her coat covering her neck. And this is her hairline for the young lady. Now, you might want to spend a few minutes staring at this and seeing if you can see the old lady because you think you're going to see an old lady, and seeing if you can see the young lady and switch between the two images. This ability to switch is your ability to anticipate what it is that you're seeing and then interpret what you're seeing a certain way. The next slide is about a wine glass. And I'm going to bring up the wine glass, and there's a black and white and a white and black wine glass. And maybe you've seen this before or not. And you can see it's pretty glass. And then you might, here's the inverse, the negative. Again, here's the pretty glass. Then you might want to look at this and just think, well, what if this is a picture of two people? There's the nose and the mouth and the chin, and nothing to do with a wine glass. And because this is the negative, it might be a little easier to see as two people. Again, I would ask you to take a few minutes and look at this and allow yourself, exercise the control and perspective. It says, if I look at it one way, I can see a wine glass. And if I think that I'm looking at seeing people's faces, I can see people's faces. And you can change what you're seeing or what you think you're seeing just by changing your perception about it, what you're thinking it is. And that what you're thinking it is changes what it is. Now, the next image, I'm not going to preface, and I just want you to look at it and see what you think it is. So this is a really interesting image, and I'd like you to just make note. What is it that you see? It's a number. So what number is it? Again, probably a good percentage of you saw this as a 6. Or maybe a good percentage of you saw this as a 9. And by looking at this and thinking of it as a 6, you can see it as a 6. And then looking at this and thinking of it as a 9, of course, you can see it as a 9. So what is it that all three of these images have in common? And these images highlight our ability as humans, based on our experience, based on what we've seen, what we felt, what happened to us when we were little, what our parents said to us, what our teachers told us was right or wrong, to have a preference or a predisposition. So everything we see and experience for the first time, when it comes in, we're processing. We're processing it with the programming and the filters, and yes, the stories that we've accumulated in our life. And so how do you think that impacts you in your daily life, in a relationship? Your partner or your friend or your business or your boss says something to you, and you're processing it from your perspective. The question is that can you listen, and can you mirror back to the person who's communicating with you what it is you think you heard, to see if you heard what they were wanting you to hear? Because you heard what you wanted to hear. What did you want to hear? Well, you wanted to hear what was based on your life experience, based on what you know, based on what you wanted and think that is consistent with your life experience. I hope you think about this. This is a really profound topic. It impacts every area of our life, especially our relationships. It affects how we raise our children. It affects how we have a divorce. It affects how we show up at work. So if we have stories and we have filters and we have preferences that are running all the time, I mean, it's just part of who you are. The question that I'd like you to think about is, do you know what your preferences and your predispositions are? My hypothesis is that you don't. That a lot of these preferences and predispositions come from the space that you don't know what you don't know about yourself. And this is where the power of coaching can be life-changing, life transformative. With a coach and looking at your feelings and following them back to events in your life, you can find out where some of your predispositions came from, where the stories are that you're projecting forward into your future from your past, that is then influencing all the information that you're receiving when somebody's talking to you. You see a picture, you watch a movie, you see a smile on someone's face, you hear a certain phrase. All these things you interpret a certain way. And the question is, are you interpreting it the way the person or the situation wants you to interpret it? Or are you interpreting it only from your perspective? And what do you think happens? If you have one person on the left side looking at that image of the 6, he's going to see a 6. And he's going to be adamant about that it's a 6. And if you have a person on the right side who's looking at it, and he's going to see a 9, and he's going to be totally convinced that it's a 9. And you guys could possibly argue until you're blue in the face. As long as you stand on the left and on the right, you could even come to blows. You could get into a really serious argument about whether it's 6 or 9, because you're each seeing it from your own perspective. And it looks just like a 6, or just like a 9, or just like an old lady, or just like a young lady, or maybe even just like a wine glass, or just like 2 people about to kiss. Now, what if you can ask the other person to switch places with you? In the case of the 6 and 9, it's really easy. You're going to see that the person on the right comes over and stands on the left, and you know what? They're going to see a 6. They're going to get it. You know, I love that metaphor, because that's exactly, walk in the other person's shoes. Try and hear and understand the other person's perspective from their life experience. Then you can get a really clear idea of what it is that they're trying to communicate. And the same about the images. The old lady, the young lady with a wine glass, or the 2 people. If you can be in communication and really be listening to the other person, and then take the time to let the other person hear what it is that you understood from what they said, play it back, mirror it back. They're going to feel heard, they're going to feel understood, and you're going to feel that you understand them better, as opposed to assuming you know what they're talking about. And you know what happens when you assume something, right? You pull that word apart, you get an ass out of you and me. So let's not assume. Let's not be locked into only our view of how things are showing up to us. Let's be curious, inquisitive, and non-judgmental, and really try and hear and understand what the other person is saying. Mirror it back until they tell you, yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. It will change your life, and it will change your world. I'm Greg Wheeler. I hope you found this interesting, informative, and really helpful. And if you'd like to learn more about this and other things that you may or may not know about yourself, that you, I didn't even say that right, that you might not know that you don't know about yourself, there's quite a few of them. Anyway, I'd be happy to work with you and look into those areas with you. Greg Wheeler from Greg Wheeler Coaching. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.